Hi, readers. It's Mrs. Carrevo here, and I'm so excited that you get to move on to your second animal for your research group. And today I want to talk to you about important details versus interesting details. When you're reading your nonfiction book, and after you read a fact, I want you to think, does this fact support the main idea of this page or section or book? For information to be considered a key detail, it has to be a detail that connects to the main idea that the author is presenting. In most nonfiction books, however, the author fills the pages with information that is important or key, and also information that is meant to wow, amaze, gross out, or otherwise keep the reader reading. It's all great information because it keeps us reading and engaged. However, when we go to summarize a text, we need to sort through all the information and just present what's most connected to the main idea. We're going to give this a try. We are going to go back to, our All About Koalas book. And because you're going to be working on the food section this today, I want to focus on eating with the koalas. So we're going to read the section, What Do Koalas Eat? Let's take a look at that first sentence. Baby koalas called joeys drink their mother's milk for the first 6 or 7 months. So readers, I want you to think to yourself, was that an interesting fact or was that an important fact? Yeah, I agree. I think that was an important fact because the topic that we're thinking about is what koalas eat. So if I make a little chart here, I can add a detail to the important side. Joeys, because I'm using my lingo, joeys drink their mother's milk. Let's take a look at the next fact. After that, their mothers give them mush to eat. The mushy stuff is called pap. Is that something that they eat? Yeah. So we're going to make this also important so I can add that to that side. Then they eat pap. Remember, I'm using that lingo that I know. Instead of saying mushy stuff, I learned pap. And let's take a peek at the last sentence. Joeys must digest pap before they start eating eucalyptus leaves. Now, this one's a little tricky. I know that we have read this story before and we're going to be talking about eucalyptus leaves, so I kind of think that's an interesting fact. I'm going to add that over here. Joeys must digest pap before eucalyptus leaves. And then what some nonfiction writers do is they add some really great information. So let's take a peek. Remember down here at the bottom, pap is a kind of koala poop. It is not the same as the dry poop koalas usually make. It is wet and sticky. The joey leans out of the pouch and eats the pap. It is an important part of their diet for about 2 months. So, readers, I heard some interesting facts, but I also heard an important one. So, the interesting fact is what pap is. But then I also learned an important part that it's an important part of their diet. So, I'm going to add in the interesting side that pap is koala poop that is wet and sticky. But I'm also going to add on the important side that the pap is an important part of their diet. So that one had both an interesting and an important detail. Okay, so let's look at the last page there. When joeys are about 1 year old, they leave the pouch and learn to grab eucalyptus leaves. They may still return to the pouch to hide or sleep. After they become too large for the pouch, they can ride on their mother's backs. So I'll put that on the interesting side. And as we know, they eat it, and we're going to find that out as we read this on this page too. So right now I'm going to read this next page, but I want you to see if you can pick out some interesting and important details. Adult koalas only eat the leaves of eucalyptus trees. Eucalyptus leaves are tough to chew. Koalas have to eat many of them before they feel full. If they pick more leaves than they can chew, they can store the extras in pouches inside their cheeks. Koalas drink very little water. They get most of the moisture they need from eucalyptus leaves. Eucalyptus is poisonous to many animals, but the koala has bacteria in its stomach that break down the toxic oils in the leaves. Okay, so readers, what did you think was important and what did you think was interesting? All right, so let's go over this together. Some interesting details that I learned were that eucalyptus leaves are hard to chew. That tells me about the leaves. It doesn't tell me about them eating it. It just says that it's hard to chew. Koalas have to eat many leaves to feel full. And koalas have bacteria in their stomachs that break down the poisonous toxins that are in the leaves. So those are all interesting because it's telling me some cool facts, but not exactly what the topic is that we're learning about. So important details. Adult koalas, they only eat eucalyptus leaves. If they pick too many leaves, they can store them in their cheeks, in the pouches. And I picked that as important because that's talking about them eating the food. Because if they get too many, then they have more there that they can eat as they get hungry. And koalas drink little water. That's really important. They get the water from the eucalyptus leaves, which is what they eat. Okay, so readers, as you're reading nonfiction, ask yourself, was this an interesting detail or an important detail? And how do I know? If you're still having trouble, think to yourself, does it connect to the main idea? If not, file it away as interesting but not necessarily important. Are you ready to give this a go? All right, off you go.